Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are having a good Friday as well as a good week. Today is Friday, March 10th, and we will be going over a little bit of what happened yesterday and also this gap right here, so you guys can see. So first off, let's get into the news, what we're going to watch today. All right. So today we have on it's Friday. We have payrolls at 8:30 a.m. as well as some hourly earnings and unemployment rate. So basically, um, wages or numbers are being released for uh, I think farmers, but I'm not sure which ones in specific. We also have unemployment rates. So there is a lot of news being affected during this time. Um, and that's about it as far as earnings go. We have nothing we're going to be watching related to earnings. So I'm going to leave that there. Let's get right into this. All right. So, we have ES. First off, before we begin, I want to go over what occurred yesterday. And so yesterday, as you guys can see, we had a massive move down. I believe it was about 100 points, which is a lot. And this all occurred due to a company that went bankrupt. Now, of course, this wasn't the only reason. In the morning, around 9:30 to 10 a.m., we had Fed Speaker Barr talk about a little bit on crypto, causing a little bit of sell-off. Didn't really give too many positive comments there. So we did have our first morning sell-off there. We bounced up, and then came the news that SVIB, a financial corporation, bank, it did actually sell off. So or sorry, did go bankrupt. And so with this news, of course, SVIB is a big company in the Silicon Valley. In fact, a lot of the companies related to Silicon Valley are being asked to move their money and stuff like that, which involves a lot of risk in that sector. So um, there's definitely there's definitely a reason to be careful um, when trading, of course, today, SPY. But SVIB, they went bankrupt due to over leveraging their bonds or taking out loans to purchase bonds. And of course, that didn't really work out too well because now they are in debt by billions due to not being able to pay that loan back because, bonds haven't really been performing too well. So, um, yeah, they are going to be taking their losses on their bonds to pay back their loans. They're sort of being forced to. So they potentially have money to work with. We're going to look at that more closely throughout the week, next week. So, we're going to see how we react today. I'm expecting bearish movement, but it looks like we did bounce off supply close yesterday. And now to get to this gap is actually um, this gap here is actually interesting. So right here we have a gap pre-market, and you may ask, what is this? This is our contract switch. We went from ESH 2023 to ESM 2023. So this is March to June contract switch. Now we go over here. This is the ES that we're used to seeing, right? ES1. Now we come over here. This is the actual price per um, ES. So ESM. This is the current one. This is March. Um, so this is good to watch. The price shouldn't be too different. If you guys do want to continue using your chart, you just have to click that BADJ at the bottom, adjust for contract changes. Click that, and it should all be the same. Um, it should be exactly the same as how we see it here. No difference. All you have to do is click that button down there. So, um, now let's get right into the levels. Hope you guys kind of understood what happened there, and let's get on to that. So we have ES currently sitting above supply demand, and VWAP. Yesterday, of course, massive selling. We do have CPI next week, so definitely watch out for what market makers and hedge funds may do. It's likely that we do sell off at close, so around power hour, but we will see how we do react today. So, looks like 3956 pre-market high resistance, key level for me as well. I'm gonna watch out for a break above that. We can start slowly achieving better levels there. See if we can get to that 3975 spot, which is where I want to see sellers at primarily. We do have 3967 as a possible sell spot here. We look at multiple attempts at this price. Once we were once we had a massive sell-off, there was an attempt to go higher. We never really filled a big candle above it, so it's likely that that can be a massive sell spot for investors as well. As far as any higher that we go, I can't see us going higher than 3975. It's a little um, unlikely. If we do, of course, all these other levels above it are worth watching. Now, as far as continuation down goes, I'm expecting chops today. It's likely that we chop between that 3939 spot. 3939 is a support or resistance key level overall to watch out for. But I do want to see us get towards this demand and chop down there as well. If we can get lower than that, that'd be amazing. This is a demand that we haven't really broken in quite a while, so I'm interested in seeing how we do react at that price. In fact, I'm going to go in the hourly and see how do we look there. So yeah, we haven't entered this since January's chop. Um, and us, of course, entering it again can lead to a possibility of us chopping as well. So it's interesting. I think we're a little bit in a tighter spot. As far as individuals go, we're going to go check it in a moment and then review ES again. Because I do want to see how ES does look compared to the whole S&P as a whole. But overall, currently my stance is bearish, but we're tight, so it's probably going to be chop until close, where close should be a big movement, whether it's down or up. Primarily leading towards down, but we'll see. All right, let's go on to SPX. I'm going to close this ESM. Um, we have, of course, also bouncing off demand, which is key. I do like this demand. No other key levels down here for me. Other than this demand, we got this 3906, 3893 to watch out for. These two are key levels in this demand that we could potentially see chop between or bounces between. If we do open strength or gain volume from massive sellers, people want to buy the dip, I want to see it inside of the demand. If we don't get inside of the demand, then I won't be really looking for calls. Today is a high risk sort of day, so of course we know that going into today, only take the setups that are worth it. So that demand would probably be one of them. Um, Other than that, rejections, we can potentially see that 3948 as a possible rejection, and even that 3962. I don't see us going any higher than that. If we go lower and we break this demand today, we have that 3879 as a support and 3868 as a support as well. That's about it for what I see on SPX. Now we'll move on to the individuals on the S&P 500. So stocks like Apple, Amazon, Google, and the other ones like Microsoft as well. So we're gonna check out. We're gonna check out Apple. We're gonna look at how it's doing. We saw supply reject on Monday. Try to retest, failed. Overall had a nice momentum curve yesterday. Now we're starting to see some pre-market bounces below that 148 support, which is a nice support. This spot, resistance here, and now support here. So maybe if we can get a pre-market low break below that 148.84, we can attempt to grab some shorts and scalp down to some possible price targets. Now let's list them. We got that as a possible price target, and let's look for this one. So, of course, our price target here, we got a rejection there. Break, that's all right, but we have two bounces there. Break, that's all right, but we have a bounce here. Break, that's all right. Now we're going to expect a bounce there. That's a possible move to watch out for. We also got this potential bounce. Nothing too serious there, but we do have that one key bounce spot to watch out for. That's about it for Apple for me. So yeah, shorts below this price. I'm gonna actually alert it in the case that we do break out there. Um, we can see a lower low. It's actually very possible. But yeah, we're gonna move on. We're gonna go to Amazon. Amazon below that 93.11. 93.11 was a key support, and now we are below it, so we may try to attempt to hit that low right around here. We'll see how we act around that price. I don't really like Amazon's price action lately, so I'm not gonna watch it too closely. I'm just gonna see its correlation to ES. Um, but we're gonna go watch this Google next, and then I'm gonna answer your questions. So if you do have any questions in the chat, let me know. I'll definitely be watching the AMD swing that we're currently sitting on. Um, and then we'll see how we do there. So of course, 4 or 5 rejects at this top. We were talking about that last week, or I think it was earlier on this week, which we ended up rejecting, and it played out very well as we can see. I believe we can hit a lower low. I think this whole spot here is going to lead to consolidation. Until we break that, we'll probably see a lower low. This whole range here is definitely going to see some consolidation. So definitely keep that in mind as well. Other than that, what I can see from here is that we have room to go lower, which is good. We can use this as a resistance if we do end up pushing up. Watch it for rejection. Other than that, that's about it for Google. So now let's go actually go on to the individuals. You can give Microsoft a check, but I'm sure I don't see much there as well. Yeah, we can break below. If we can break pre-market low, we can go lower. So yeah, we have the idea that most S&P 500 stocks look relatively bearish. So we can assume that ES may follow today. All right, so let's head on to AMD. Let's look at how this looks. We're in our swings. We bought up here, and now we are holding. We are currently in profit. It's gapped down, which actually is pretty odd because the market is gapping up. To see that AMD is gapping down is good. I actually spoke with a well-known trader recently about yesterday, and he mentioned something relating to AMD. Let me see if I can find it. He mentioned during this drop, the shorts got filled for market makers from 2 weeks ago in the past, and allowing people to buy shares for a lot cheaper, specifically AMD and the chip sector stocks. So that is really interesting because he believes that AMD can get below 70 or around that price. So that's interesting to see that the fills did get, or the shorts got filled. As far as what I know from yesterday or from last week's push, which was Friday of last week, we can go on ES and we can see what we're talking about right around here. This push was due to the announcement of hedge funds um, closing their shorts and the possibility of a 0.25% basis point hike in the economy for interest rates. So um, to see that it got filled, he mentioned somewhere here. I'm interested in seeing how we do react today if that is the case. I'm gonna have to double check on that, but it does sound pretty good. Now, as far as how lower can we go for our AMD position and what our price targets, safest price target or most potential price target is gonna be that price right there, 81.75. We got our rejection there and our bounce right there. I think it's gonna be the safest spot. We also got a bounce there. As far as where to exit completely, there's a lot of buying tension down there, so I don't want to hold anything lower than that. As far as where else can we hold to? I'm gonna mark that price there, 82.90, and that goes for over here, and over here. We got our rejects wicks only, rejects wicks only, bodies candle below it. Shows me relatively weakness there. So pre-market low again. If we hit that, I'm gonna trim one. If we break below pre-market low, then I'll hold to 81.75, and then I'll exit completely. Um, so yeah, AMD was a great trade. We ended up catching it up here, shorting it, and taking some profits. Now we're holding, and we'll see how we react. AMD has had opening strength, so we will see if there's strength at open for that chip sector stock, and we'll trade safely according to it today. Now, Costco, consumer sector, we have seen Walmart, Costco, and all the other consumer sector stocks, including Target, start to sell off. In fact, Friday and early on this week, they had most strength as they were being loaded on the chop before Powell and all that. So, um, to see it start to sell off is kind of interesting. We may see it continue. There's money leaving that sector, and we are going to see where it's heading towards, or if it's just going liquid. So, let's look at how we do react today in the consumer sector as well. Meta, I don't really like trading it, especially after all this. We did attempt supply. We rejected the entry. Didn't really get into it too much. It does seem like there is a lot of bottom wicks, strong ones. Not enough because we're still hitting lower lows. But I do want to see when buyers may start to load up. It's likely that we may see it very soon. I'm just going to give it some time. I'm not going to really touch it right now. Um, but yeah, if we're going to load up, it's probably going to be around this low for sure. And why is that? Is because we have our rejection there, opening buy there, buy there. So far, we've been holding above. So it can act as a spot. We'll see. We're still bearish. So if we break out, hitting a higher high, then we can attempt to fill that supply and then fully reject or continue higher. We'll see. All right, we moved on to Amazon. Let's get on to, I believe, Tesla. So Tesla looks like it's doing another pre-market low, pre-market high setup. Yesterday's pre-market low, we were watching for shorts below it. I didn't really take it. It looked pretty solid. And now we're starting to see a possible level. This was yesterday's level, 175 pre-market high. If we get above that today for Tesla, I will be watching for calls. That is a pre-market low, pre-market high strat. Right here, this was yesterday's pre-market low. Now it's acting as today's pre-market high. If we can get a candle above it with volume, we can push higher. Attempt yesterday's high day as a fill. It's risky, especially with the 0DTE contracts that Tesla seems to have. But we'll see. We'll look at the opportunity and take it if it's possible. As far as shorts go, we're gonna look for rejections over here, and then possibly break below pre-market low. Still a lot of risk down here for shorting. We have a lot of buying going on in this whole price range. So it's going to be interesting to see how it does, what it does today. I'm gonna leave it be, but we're gonna watch that break. BA already BA broke falling or rising wedge, retraced back, and then right away dropped all the way back down. Interesting seeing that. There is buying pressure down here, so we can see some investors, but overall, if it's gonna hit a lower low, it's probably gonna continue down to this gap down here, which is 191 gap. We're getting some volume pre-market, it seems, on a lot of the stocks. Probably ES is starting to move. Crowd all the way back down towards that level after filling that gap. That's interesting to watch too. JP Morgan, a bank company. In fact, I think GS is also a setup that I was watching recently. Yeah, we're breaking out of that as well. GS, a lot of the bank sector stocks are starting to see massive sell-off. Um, Starting to see massive sell-off due to, of course, that financial company that did go bankrupt, and that's the reason for yesterday's sell-off. But banks have been selling off, if you notice, like JPM has been selling off a few days before that. In fact, we had big money sweeps come in on Monday, that we saw a massive sell go, and now we're down about 10% on JPM in total. So that's interesting to see whether they had interest in that during the beginning of the week, but now we're starting to see that massive sell off go there, and we can see a buy down here, but of course there is risk in that financial sector currently. That's about it for me in all these companies to watch out for. It looks like we have massive volume coming in. in the morning. To watch this 3975 looks like pre-market high rejection. Currently, this is where I really want to see sell-off. If we're gaining lots of volume, it's likely enough to push pre-market high. Then I'm watching 4005 as a rejection, and of course 4023. I'm going to highlight that in bold because 4023 does look like it could be prime for a rejection today. Other than that, that's about it for me. Hope you guys have a great trading day. Trade smart, trade safe, and of course, if you have any questions, let me know. Um, and we'll get into it today. So, see y'all. Have a great day.